Beloved listener, know this. Every night before you close your eyes, you plant the seeds of tomorrow. The subconscious mind is the fertile soil of spirit, and what you impress upon it in the stillness of the night is brought forth with power in the light of day. Many go to sleep rehearsing fears, debts, and worries, and so, when the morning comes, they reap a harvest of lack and limitation. But tonight, I ask you to make a new choice. The law of the universe is simple. Whatever you feel deeply, whatever you affirm with faith, whatever you expect with certainty, must appear in your world. There is no delay in divine supply, only delay in human belief. Therefore, you must train your words and your thoughts as you would train a trusted servant, for they go before you and prepare the way. I recall a woman who once came to me, weary and burdened by endless bills. She said, "I pray and pray, yet my cupboards are bare." I told her, "My dear, you are praying amiss, for you are praying in fear, not in faith. You are asking while believing in lack. Speak instead from the place of abundance, and you will see doors open where walls once stood." She obeyed, and within days, unexpected checks and gifts began to flow. The channels of supply are countless, for God's wealth is boundless. So I say to you tonight, before you lay your head upon the pillow, release all worry and speak this truth. Infinite Spirit, I rest in the certainty of your supply. I give thanks for the wealth that is now flowing to me in perfect ways. All that is mine by divine right comes to me swiftly, easily, and under grace. Say it once, and let it sink into the silence. Feel it, believe it, and then let it go. For faith is not striving, but resting in the knowledge that what you ask is already given. The moment you speak these words, you align with the law of opulence. Money is but a symbol, a shadow of the true substance, the divine substance that cannot be exhausted. When you call upon it in faith, it takes form in whatever way you need: opportunities, unexpected income, gifts, or new ideas that prosper you. Spirit has a million ways to bless you, and you need not know how. The how belongs to God. Your part is to speak, to believe, and to give thanks. Do not go to sleep rehearsing what went wrong today. Do not lie awake counting debts. These are weeds in the garden of the mind. Uproot them with the flaming sword of truth. Affirm only the good, and the good will multiply. Remember, miracles are simply laws of God not yet understood by man. When you align with these laws, what the world calls miracles become your daily bread. So tonight, bless your sleep. See it as the sacred chamber where Spirit whispers wealth into your soul. And when you wake, wake in expectation. Say with joy, "This is the day of my abundant good. Today I meet prosperity face to face," and you will find that doors open before you, that people arrive to help you, that money flows to you in surprising ways. For nothing is withheld from the one who lives in faith. So I tell you again, before you sleep, plant the seed. Speak once with power. Speak once with certainty. Infinite Spirit, I rest in the certainty of your supply. I give thanks for the wealth that is now flowing to me in perfect ways. All that is mine by divine right comes to me swiftly, easily, and under grace. Say this once before bed, and wake up to miracles of wealth, for God never fails, and the law never sleeps. The subconscious mind is the garden of God within the soul of man. It is the hidden chamber where every word spoken, every thought entertained, and every feeling embraced is received as seed. And like the earth, it does not question what is planted, it simply brings forth after its kind. If you sow fear, fear will rise. If you sow lack, lack will multiply. But if you sow truth, abundance, and thanksgiving, then you shall awaken to a harvest of miracles. I say to you, never go to sleep with worry in your heart, for worry is a thief of tomorrow's good. Many lie in bed rehearsing the dramas of the day, counting debts or imagining losses, and then they wonder why the morning brings more of the same. They have sown weeds into the garden of the night, and weeds do not bear fruit of plenty. The law cannot be mocked. It gives back to you precisely what you have impressed upon it. A woman once came to me who lived in constant dread of bills. Each night, she would lie awake, calculating what she did not have, imagining creditors at her door. And each morning she awoke with heaviness, for her world was only reflecting the images she had sown in the soil of her subconscious. I told her, my dear, you must stop rehearsing lack and begin rehearsing supply. God cannot bless a mind that is full of fear, but he will fill to overflowing a mind that is full of praise. She obeyed, and instead of whispering, I have not enough, she began to say before sleep, I give thanks for God's endless supply. I am abundantly cared for, now and always. Within weeks, her affairs turned, unexpected income arrived. Debts were cleared, and peace reigned in her home. Beloved, your night is holy ground. Sleep is not simply rest for the body, but communion for the soul. When you close your eyes, the conscious mind grows silent, and the subconscious opens wide, ready to be impressed. It will magnify whatever you leave with it, whether it be a word of faith or a whisper of fear. Therefore, speak the word of truth before you sleep. Sow only what you wish to reap. Say to yourself, as you lay your head upon the pillow, Infinite Spirit, I sow seeds of abundance into the garden of my soul. My subconscious receives only truth, only light, only wealth, and multiplies it as my morning harvest. When you speak this, you are not begging, you are commanding in alignment with divine law. For the subconscious is the servant, and spirit is the master. You must speak with the authority of one who knows the law cannot fail. Do not murmur, do not plead. Speak once in certainty, as a king would decree to his kingdom, and then rest, knowing the soil has received its seed. You may say, but what if doubts creep in? I answer, deny them with the sword of the Spirit. Affirm again, there is no power in fear. God alone is power, and his wealth flows to me without obstruction. With each repetition, the weeds of fear are uprooted, and the garden is cleared for truth. Consider this, no farmer plants one night and digs up the soil the next to see if the seed has taken root. He plants, and then he rests, for he knows the law of growth will do its perfect work. So it is with you. Plant the word of truth in the soil of your subconscious before sleep and rest. In the stillness of night, unseen forces move, divine ideas germinate, opportunities prepare themselves, channels of supply align with your path. By morning you rise to meet the beginnings of the harvest. Let me tell you of another man who desired success in business, yet each night he fell asleep muttering, I will never prosper, nothing works out for me. And so the next day he lived out exactly what he had spoken. I instructed him to change his nightly confession. Before sleep he was to declare, I rest in God's unfailing supply, my success is secure, and wealth is mine by divine right. In less than a month, his affairs shifted, new clients appeared, and opportunities that had once seemed closed flung themselves wide open. Why? Because he changed the seed, and so he changed the harvest. Never forget this, the subconscious mind is the workshop of spirit. It is where the invisible becomes visible. The patterns you impress upon it are faithfully outpictured in your world. If you would live in wealth, you must first live in wealth within. If you would wake to miracles, you must first sow miracles in thought and word. Therefore guard the threshold of your night. Let no anxious thought slip past into the holy chamber of sleep. Instead, close the door with thanksgiving, affirming, I lay down in peace, knowing my harvest of wealth is already assured. God works while I rest. Prosperity is preparing to greet me at dawn, and so it shall be. For what you plant before bed, you awaken to in the morning. This is the eternal law. Sow lack, reap lack. Sow wealth, reap wealth. The soil of the subconscious never fails. It only multiplies what you give it. And when you have grasped this truth, when you have disciplined your words before sleep, you will rise each day renewed, refreshed, and rich in supply. Then you will be ready for the next great revelation, that your words themselves are living servants, carrying your decree into the world, shaping circumstances, and preparing the way for your abundance. Beloved, now that you see the subconscious as the fertile soil of spirit, you must also recognize the power of the seed itself, your word. For words are not idle sounds, they are living forces, clothed in vibration, and filled with creative fire. Each word you speak is a servant, going forth into the unseen to prepare the very conditions of your life. Words are invisible messengers carrying your decree into the field of substance, shaping matter, and calling forth form. This is why the scriptures declare, "By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned." For your words are law unto you. They either bind you to chains of limitation, or set you free into the liberty of abundance. The soil of your subconscious receives them without question, and the universe itself responds to their command. Do you not see? Your words are not powerless syllables drifting into the air. They are spiritual seeds wrapped in authority. When spoken with faith, they are swift messengers of light, carrying wealth, health, and harmony into manifestation. But when spoken carelessly, in anger, in fear, or in complaint, they become the very builders of your own prison. I once knew a man who constantly declared, "I am always broke, nothing ever works out for me." He thought it harmless chatter, but the law was listening. His words were his decree, and his life faithfully mirrored his confession. Lack was his servant, because lack was the command he gave. When he learned the truth and changed his decree to, "I am abundantly supplied, money comes to me in perfect ways," the tide of his affairs shifted, new opportunities appeared, and what he had once struggled for began to flow to him with ease. For his words had changed, and his servants brought him new gifts. You must understand this eternal law. Words are clothed with authority when you speak them. If you speak from fear, they serve fear. If you speak from faith, they serve faith. There is no neutral ground. This is why I say to you, guard your tongue as you would guard a treasure chest, for it contains the power to unlock your fortune, or to scatter it to the winds. Say now within yourself, "My words are mighty servants of spirit. They go before me and prepare the way. They establish success, abundance, and joy wherever I walk." When you speak such a decree, speak it once with certainty, for the servant does not need nagging or pleading. It needs only clear instruction. Speak the word, release it, and trust that it has gone forth to do its perfect work. Just as a king does not beg his servants, but commands them, so you must speak with the authority of divine law. Do not say, "I will try," for trying is weakness. Say, "It is done," for in spirit it is already accomplished. Say, "I give thanks that my supply is flowing now," and let your words establish the unseen channels. Then rest in the certainty that the law is at work. A woman once cried to me, "I have prayed and prayed, yet nothing changes." I asked her, "What words have you been speaking?" She confessed that her prayers were filled with pleading, with begging, and with doubt. I told her, "You have been speaking as a servant, not as a master. Speak as one who knows that the supply is already yours." She changed her words from begging to thanksgiving. She began to say, "I give thanks for the abundance that is mine by divine right." Soon her circumstances shifted, for her servants of spirit had finally been given their true command. Your words must match the vision of your heart. Speak not of what you fear, but of what you know to be true in God. When you say, "I am prosperous, I am divinely guided, I am rich in opportunities," your servants run to establish these truths in the visible. But if you say, "I am poor, I never have enough, everything goes wrong," then those servants rush to build the very lack you have proclaimed. The subconscious, as we have seen, is the soil. Words are the seed, but what, you may ask, is the substance that fills the seed and brings the harvest? It is the divine wealth of spirit, the inexhaustible supply of God. Words summon it, shape it, and direct it. Without the living substance of spirit, words are empty shells, but when spoken in alignment with divine law, they draw upon the infinite reservoir of supply and form it into your experience. Therefore, say this often: "Every word I speak is filled with divine substance. My words are servants of light. They bring to me wealth, opportunities, and blessings under grace in perfect ways." And watch as your world obeys. Never again say you are unlucky. Never again declare defeat, for every such word is a command to your servants, and they will not question you. Speak instead the language of abundance, and let your servants prepare a palace of prosperity for you. Beloved, the key is mastery of the tongue. Train your words as you would train an army, and they will fight for your freedom. Let them march ahead of you, building bridges where there were none, opening doors that seemed sealed, and delivering the wealth that is yours by divine right. Then you will know the greater truth, that money itself is not your supply, but only a shadow of divine substance. And it is this divine substance, inexhaustible and eternal, that your words summon and shape into form. Beloved, now that you know your words are servants of spirit, you must also know what they serve. They do not create something from nothing. They call upon the eternal substance of God, the invisible wealth that fills all space and never diminishes. For money is but a shadow, a symbol, a faint reflection of that vast spiritual storehouse. To mistake money for wealth is to mistake the shadow for the sun. True wealth is divine substance, infinite and inexhaustible, and it surrounds you at every moment. Think of air. You breathe it without struggle, without fear that it will run out. You do not say, "I must hoard this breath, for there may be no more tomorrow." You breathe freely, and it comes freely. So it is with divine substance. It is the very atmosphere of spirit, and supply is as natural as breath when you understand the law. When your words call upon money alone, you are calling upon the shadow. Shadows shift, shadows fade, shadows deceive. But when your words call upon substance, the shadow must appear in perfect form. Money will come, gifts will come, opportunities will come, but they are only the clothing of the real. They are garments woven from the eternal fabric of divine supply. I recall a woman who once lamented to me, "I never have enough money. No matter how much comes, it slips through my hands." And I said, "My dear, you are clinging to the shadow while ignoring the source. Money is only one channel. God is all channels. Set your eyes on substance, and you will never fear lack again." She began to affirm each day, "I dwell in the midst of infinite substance. I am supplied in countless ways." And soon, she noticed that opportunities, favors, and gifts began to flow to her, things far beyond what money alone could have purchased. Beloved, divine substance is not limited to coins or notes. It is health, it is joy, it is inspiration, it is favor with people. It is every visible form that answers the need of the hour. If you require healing, substance takes the form of health. If you require guidance, substance takes the form of wisdom. If you require wealth, substance takes the form of money, opportunities, and divine ideas. Spirit knows the perfect form, and it is your faith and your words that summon it into visibility. Therefore, never again say, "I do not have enough." Instead, declare with authority, "There is no lack in God's substance. Infinite supply surrounds me. I draw upon it now, and it appears in the perfect form I require." Your words are servants, yes, but this is the storehouse from which they draw. Words are like messengers going to the treasury of spirit and returning with the wealth you requested. If you command little, they return with little. If you command in fear, they return with lack. But if you command in faith, they bring back abundance pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Do not limit the channels. Do not say, "It must come through this job, or through this person, or through this one way." That is leaning upon the shadow. The shadow is limited, but substance is boundless. Spirit has 1,000 avenues to bless you, if you will only let go of the narrow channel you have fixed upon. I have seen people lose one door of income, only to despair, not knowing that Spirit was already preparing a greater door to open. Hold to substance, and doors will swing wide that you never imagined. A man once said to me, "I lost my fortune, and I fear I shall never regain it." I replied, "You cannot lose divine substance, for it is God Himself in action. You have only lost the shadow. Turn again to the source, and the shadow will reform in greater measure." He took this truth to heart, and began to say each night, "I am one with the inexhaustible substance of spirit. My fortune is secure, for it rests in God and not in man." Within months, new ventures opened, and what he had lost returned sevenfold. Do you not see, beloved? wealth is not something you pursue, it is something you allow. The river of substance is always flowing, and you need only open the gates with faith and thanksgiving. Fear closes the gates, striving clogs them, but praise and trust open them wide. Say now within yourself, infinite substance flows through me and around me. I cannot be depleted, for God cannot be depleted. Wealth is mine by divine right, and it appears now in perfect ways. Feel the truth of it, rest in it, for this is the law. Substance answers faith, not fear, rest, not striving. You need not chase money, as though it were a fugitive. You need only align with the eternal substance, and the shadow of money will pursue you. And so we come to the next revelation, that true faith is not struggle, not anxious labor, not restless pursuit. Faith is rest. Faith is assurance. Faith is the calm knowing that substance is already yours and cannot be taken away. Beloved, now that you know wealth is divine substance, let me tell you the secret by which this substance takes form: faith. But faith is not the restless grasping of the anxious mind. Faith is not endless striving, begging, or pleading with God as though He were reluctant to bless you. True faith is rest. It is the calm assurance that what you have spoken is already accomplished in spirit, and therefore it must appear in your world. When you plant a seed in the earth, do you dig it up every morning to see if it is growing? No. You trust the law of growth. You plant it, you water it, and you rest, knowing the soil is doing its perfect work. So it is with the seed of your words. Once spoken in faith, they are planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious, watered by your belief, and brought forth by the hand of spirit. Striving disturbs the soil. Rest allows the harvest to appear. I once knew a woman who would pray 10, 20, 30 times a day for the same thing, yet her affairs never moved forward. She was like the farmer digging up his seed, restless to see results. I said to her, "You are not praying in faith, but in fear. You are not resting in God's promise, but striving as though He were deaf to your cry. Speak your word once with authority, thank God for its fulfillment, and then rest." When she obeyed, her desires began to unfold quickly, for she had finally aligned with the law of rest. You see, striving is doubt in disguise. It is the hidden fear that perhaps the law will not work, that perhaps God will not answer. But rest is confidence. Rest says, "It is finished. God has heard me. The law is exact, and the harvest is certain." Rest is the evidence of faith, for the soul that truly believes has no need to struggle. Say within yourself now, "I rest in the certainty of divine supply. I release striving, and I dwell in the quiet assurance that all I have asked is already mine." When you live in rest, you live in harmony with divine timing. Spirit knows the perfect hour for your blessing to appear. If you demand it before its season, you may spoil the gift. But if you rest in faith, you will find it blossoms at the very moment it is needed. Never late, never early, but always right on time. Consider the lilies of the field. They do not toil, they do not strive, yet they are clothed more gloriously than Solomon in all his splendor. Why? Because they rest in the law. They draw upon divine substance, without worry, without effort, without fear. Their very existence is a testimony to the truth that faith is rest. A man once said to me, "I have worked and struggled for years, yet my prosperity eludes me." I asked him, "Have you ever rested in faith? Have you ever spoken the word, and then left the matter to God?" He confessed he had not. He was always worrying, always pushing, always striving to make things happen. I instructed him to change his way. Each night before bed he was to say once, "Infinite Spirit, I give thanks that my supply is assured. It comes swiftly, easily, and under grace." And then he was to let the matter go, refusing to worry, refusing to strive. Within weeks his business affairs turned. Clients appeared, opportunities flowed, and what he had struggled for began to come to him, of its own accord. Faith is not pushing, it is attracting. Faith is not chasing, It is allowing. Faith is the magnetic rest of the soul that draws supply to itself by the law of attraction. When you rest, you open the door for spirit to move. When you strive, you close the door with your own resistance. Beloved, hear this truth. Rest is not idleness. Rest is the highest form of action in spirit. It is the alignment of your soul with divine law, the serene knowing that God never fails. When you rest, you are not doing nothing, you are doing everything. For you are placing the matter into the hands of infinite wisdom, which always brings the perfect result. Say often, I rest in God's unfailing law. What is mine by divine right now appears. I do not strive, I do not chase, I allow, and I receive. Rest is power, striving is weakness. The soul that strives declares, I am separate, I must do this alone. But the soul that rests declares, I am one with God and His supply is mine. And the law never fails to answer such a declaration. Have you not noticed that miracles come when you least expect them? They come when you have finally released the matter, when you have ceased striving, when you have entered into rest. Then suddenly the door opens, the letter arrives, the opportunity presents itself. What the world calls coincidence is simply the law fulfilling itself once you have ceased to interfere. And so, beloved, the next great truth is revealed. Miracles are not accidents, nor are they rare events reserved for the few. Miracles are the natural working of divine law. When you rest in faith, they are the daily bread of the soul that trusts in spirit. Beloved, you have now learned that faith is rest, that the soul which believes does not strive but calmly knows. And when the soul enters this rest, miracles begin to unfold. Yet I tell you, miracles are not exceptions to the law. They are the law itself, operating beyond the limits of human reasoning. What the world calls a miracle is only the divine law, working swiftly, silently, and with precision. There are no accidents in spirit. There is no such thing as chance. All things are ordered, all things are governed, all things move according to divine law. And when you align yourself with that law, through faith, through the spoken word, through thanksgiving, then what others call miracles will become your daily experience. A woman once came to me in despair. She said, "My affairs are hopeless. Only a miracle could save me now." I replied, "Then you are closer to your salvation than you think. For miracles are not rare, they are natural. They are the breath of God moving through your life." I gave her an affirmation. What is mine by divine right cannot be withheld from me. I give thanks that the law is now at work, and miracles of supply appear. She repeated it faithfully, not with anxious striving but with quiet assurance. Within days, an unexpected inheritance reached her, something long delayed, but released by the power of her faith. The world called it a miracle, but I called it law in action. Beloved, miracles are only divine substance taking form in ways beyond your present understanding. They are not unnatural, but supernatural, above the reasoning of man, yet perfectly natural to spirit. When you live by faith, you enter into the rhythm where miracles are no longer rare surprises, but the very air you breathe. Say now within yourself, I expect miracles because I live by divine law. What seems impossible to man is possible with God. Each day I give thanks, and each day miracles unfold before me. You may ask, but how can I believe in miracles when my eyes see only lack? And I answer, your eyes see the shadow, but faith sees the substance. The miracle is already prepared in spirit, waiting for your recognition. You must believe before you see. You must give thanks before it appears. This is the law. Thanksgiving precedes manifestation. Let me tell you of a man who was facing ruin. His business was collapsing, his creditors pressing. He came to me saying, "It would take a miracle to save me." I said, "Then let us prepare for a miracle, for miracles are the natural outcome of divine law." I gave him these words, "I give thanks that divine law is even now working in my affairs. What is mine cannot fail to appear. I expect miracles, and I rest in God's supply." He spoke them, and he rested. Within 2 weeks, an unexpected partnership was formed, and his business revived beyond what he had ever imagined. What had seemed disaster turned to triumph, not by chance, but by law. The world says, seeing is believing. Spirit says, believing is seeing. When you rest in faith and speak the word of truth, you set in motion laws that cannot fail. They will arrange circumstances, move people, and open doors in ways that appear miraculous to the human mind. But once you understand the law, you will know that these so-called miracles are simply the natural fruit of alignment with Spirit. Do not limit miracles to great and dramatic events. They are as near as your daily bread, a debt forgiven, a friend appearing at the right moment, an idea flashing across your mind. These are miracles as surely as seas parting and mountains moving. The law works in great things and in small, and all are governed by the same principle. What you believe, speak, and expect with thanksgiving must appear. Say often, I live in the rhythm of miracles. Each day brings me divine surprises. I walk in the law of Spirit, and nothing is withheld from me. You may have noticed that miracles often come when you release the matter completely, when you cease striving, cease worrying, and rest in God. This is no accident. It is because in that rest, the channels open and Spirit is free to move. When the mind is cluttered with fear, the law is hindered, but when the heart rests in trust, the law works swiftly, bringing results that appear miraculous to the eyes of men. Beloved, expect miracles as naturally as you expect the sun to rise. They are not rare. They are the constant activity of divine law in your life. When you align with Spirit, you step into a stream of blessings so steady, so faithful, that your days will be filled with wonders. And so I tell you, every night when you lay down you prepare for miracles. The seed you plant in the soil of your subconscious becomes the harvest you awaken to in the morning. If you plant fear, you will wake to lack, but if you plant faith, you will wake to miracles of supply. Thus we come to the next revelation, the seed of night and the harvest of morning. For what you speak once before sleep, the law will magnify and return to you at dawn. Beloved, we have seen that miracles are not accidents, but the steady outworking of divine law. And now I tell you the hour of greatest power, the moment when the gates of Spirit are most open. It is the sacred threshold of sleep. Every night you stand at the doorway between the seen and the unseen, between the conscious and the subconscious, and in that holy passage, you plant the seeds of tomorrow. What you impress upon the subconscious in those final moments before sleep will germinate while you rest, and you will awaken to its fruit. The law never slumbers, Spirit never sleeps. While your body rests, the infinite substance of God is at work, weaving into form the pattern you have left in its care. If you sow fear, you will reap anxiety at dawn. If you sow lack, you will rise to lack. But if you sow faith, thanksgiving, and abundance, then the morning will greet you with miracles of supply. This is why I say, guard the gate of night. Do not let your last words be words of complaint, fear, or regret. Do not close your eyes rehearsing debts, recounting failures, or reliving sorrows. These are weeds, and weeds multiply swiftly in the soil of the subconscious. Instead, close the day with a word of truth, a word of faith, a word that aligns you with the infinite substance. Plant one golden seed, and the law will bring it forth in the light of day. A woman once told me, I go to bed every night in worry. I count the bills. I imagine disasters, and in the morning I wake exhausted. I said to her, my dear, you are using the most powerful hour of your day to plant the seeds of fear. Change your seed, and you will change your harvest. I gave her these words, Infinite Spirit, I thank you that I am supplied in every way. I rest in peace, knowing that divine substance fills my life. She obeyed. Each night she planted this seed before sleep, and each morning she awoke lighter, freer. Within weeks, unexpected income flowed. Her health improved, and peace entered her home. The harvest of the morning matched the seed of the night. Beloved, you need not repeat 1,000 prayers. The soil does not require endless planting. It requires one seed of faith, spoken with authority, then left to rest. Say it once, feel it as true, and let it go. The subconscious does not need pleading, it needs direction. Speak your decree once and rest. Say now with me, Infinite Spirit, I release this day into your care. I plant seeds of abundance, joy, and peace. I sleep in faith, and I awaken to miracles. Do you not see the beauty of this law? Night is not merely for rest of the body, it is the workshop of spirit. It is the sacred field where tomorrow is sown. Each day is the harvest of some forgotten word, some thought, some feeling, planted in the stillness of night. And when you understand this, you will treat the hour of sleep as holy ground. A man once confessed to me that he fell asleep every night, worrying about his work. His mornings were filled with dread, his days with struggle. I told him, you must change the film you play in the theater of your mind before sleep. Instead of rehearsing failure, rehearse success. See yourself prosperous, declare yourself supplied, and let that image sink into the soil of night. He obeyed. Each night before sleep he said, I give thanks for the success that is already mine. My work is prosperous, my path is clear. In time his mornings shifted. He woke with expectation instead of dread, and his affairs blossomed into success. Beloved, the seed of night and the harvest of morning is one of the greatest truths of the law. You need not force results. You need only plant faithfully and rest. Spirit works in silence. The seed germinates in secret. But when the dawn comes, the harvest is ready. Therefore I tell you tonight, speak your word once with certainty. Plant it in the soil of your soul, and rest. Say, Infinite Spirit, I rest in your supply. I give thanks for the wealth that flows to me now, swiftly, easily, and under grace. Then close your eyes, not in worry, but in peace. For the law is already at work, and you will rise to meet its fruits. The morning is the mirror of the night. If you would wake to miracles, you must plant miracles. If you would rise to abundance, you must sow abundance. Life cannot bring you what you did not plant. The law is exact, unchanging, and perfect. And here, beloved, is the great joy. You are not bound by yesterday's seed. Every night you are given a fresh field. Every night you may plant anew. Do not mourn the harvests of the past. Change the seed of tonight, and the morning must bring you a new creation. So it is that miracles are not delayed, nor wealth withheld. The law is immediate. The soil is fertile. The seed is in your hand. Sow it with faith. Sow it with thanksgiving. Sow it with joy and rest. For the harvest of the morning is certain, and it will not fail you. And so we come full circle. The subconscious is the soil. Your words are the seed. Divine substance is the supply. Faith is the rest. Miracles are the natural fruit. And the night is the sacred hour when you plant the pattern of your tomorrow. Beloved, you have now walked the path of truth from beginning to end. You have seen that wealth is not a matter of chance, nor the plaything of fortune, but the steady unfolding of divine law. You have learned that your words are seeds, your faith the soil, and your expectation the harvest. You have been shown that the substance of God is inexhaustible, that your subconscious is obedient, that miracles are natural, and that the sacred hour of night is the gateway to tomorrow's wealth. So I say to you now, stand in your authority as a child of the infinite. You are not a beggar at the gates of supply. You are an heir to the kingdom of abundance. The law is yours, the substance is yours, the miracle is yours. What you decree with faith shall come to pass. For heaven and earth pass away, but the word of spirit cannot return void. Therefore plant tonight with joy. Sow only words of truth. Rest without fear, for spirit works while you sleep. And in the morning you shall awaken to the harvest of your faith. Say now with me, and let these words close the circle of law in your soul. I am one with the inexhaustible substance of God. I am supplied, sustained, and prospered in every way. Every word I speak is a seed of wealth, health, and joy. I plant my good tonight and rise to miracles in the morning. Nothing can withhold what is mine by divine right. All doors open, all channels flow, all supply rushes to me now, swiftly, easily, and under grace, and it is done. The seed is planted, the law is at work, the harvest is certain. Rest, beloved, in the assurance of divine supply, and awaken to the miracles prepared for you.